Here in Hawaii, there's nothing more beautiful than flowing lava. However, Kilauea also emits volcanic gas, which comes out of vents such as Halima'uma'u and Pu'u'o. The gas is composed of water vapor, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen chloride, and other trace gases. This gas doesn't just stay near the vent, the wind carries it away. For example, out in Ka'u, you can see the volcanic fume rising above Halima'uma'u crater. Then the gas is blown downwind and it disperses. The term fog was coined because this dispersed volcanic fume resembles smog. In Hawaii, we have trade winds most of the time. These trade winds blow from the northeast and produce small surfing waves, pleasant sailing conditions, and of course, windward showers. The wind also moves the fog towards the southwest. You would think that the fog would keep on traveling out to sea, but it doesn't. Here's the Big Island. Hilo on the east side and Kona on the west. Zooming in, there's fog from Pu'u'o and fog from Halima'uma'u. Now the northeast trade winds start to blow the fog out to sea, but typically the fog is drawn back inland to visit Ka'u and West Hawaii. This happens because Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa are so massive that they block the trade winds. In West Hawaii, this produces a fascinating small-scale weather system. During the daytime, the sun heats up Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, and the warm air begins to rise above the mountains. As the warm mountain air leaves, it is replaced by cooler ocean air that is drawn inland as gentle breezes. Unfortunately, this cooler ocean air often contains fog, because as the trade winds send fog away from the Big Island past South Point, sometimes this fog gets drawn right back into the west side system. In this morning view from Kohala, the mountains have warmed up, and as the warm air rises, the cooler air offshore moves inland to replace it and brings the fog with it. In this view from Kawaihae, you can see the gorgeous clear air towards the north, but on this particular day, to the south, the fog is hanging over Kona and obscuring the horizon. Meanwhile, fog from Halima'uma'u blows right onto the communities in Ka'u, devastating agriculture there. The effect of fog on plants is stunning. Here in Volcano Village, fog is occasionally so thick that it burns the leaves of invasive species like ginger and tibochina. The most important point is this: although fog originates at volcanic vents, it is the wind direction and speed that determines where the fog goes. It's just like with huli huli chicken. The smoke goes where the wind takes it, and the wind direction can change quickly without warning. In this satellite image from NOAA, fog from Halima'uma'u is blowing southwest, but fog from Pu'u'o is blowing north. Big Island weather is the result of many competing processes, so wind conditions can be very localized and highly variable. Some days, Hilo enjoys sunshine and fog-free air, while Kona is foggy. Other days, Hilo is covered in fog, which usually means clear air on Kona side. But on some days when there is no wind, the volcanic emissions are unable to disperse and simply accumulate near the vents. This concentrated fog is especially irritating because it has not been diluted by any wind. In some places such as Glenwood and Mountain View, cars need to drive with headlights on. In extreme cases, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park is closed to everyone to protect the health of employees as well as visitors. Some areas of the park are always closed. They are off limits to the public. The fumes can be life-threatening in those areas. Scientists have been carefully studying the volcanic fumes for decades. Gas samples collected in the field are analyzed in the lab. Here, University of Hawaii scientists use sophisticated equipment to determine precise compositions. Several schools on the Big Island collect data too, using SO2 monitors. When SO2 levels are high at the Volcano School of Arts and Sciences, everyone stays indoors, with doors and windows shut. Other schools have safe rooms where air filters or air conditioners can remove the most acidic compounds from the air. Studies are being done to determine the effects of VOG on residents. For short-term exposure, there is evidence that individuals can experience symptoms such as cough, phlegm, sore dry throat, sinus congestion, wheezing, eye irritation, runny nose, and bronchitis. Naturally, individual responses will vary. Those who have compromised respiratory systems are at greatest risk from acute exposure to the compounds in VOG. VOG is particularly dangerous to asthmatics, as it can trigger constriction of the airways, making it difficult to breathe. If you have asthma, you should minimize your exposure to VOG and always have your medications handy. Research about the long-term effects of VOG have been inconclusive. On days when the trade winds aren't blowing, the VOG sometimes migrates all the way up the island chain to irritate the rest of the state, as well as the Big Island. As the VOG moves further and further away from volcanic vents, it changes composition. Near the vents, sulfur dioxide and sulfuric acid aerosols make up the majority of acid compounds in the gas. But as they move downwind, both of these compounds react with ammonia, which occurs naturally in our tropical air. When the sulfur compounds react with the ammonia, they are converted into ammonium sulfate. The neighbor islands are primarily bothered by ammonium sulfate and sulfuric acid, not SO2. Ammonium sulfate loves water and easily dissolves on any moist surface, such as your eyes, throat, and lungs. That's why it feels so irritating. Here are some practical suggestions for coping with VOG. First, avoid strenuous outdoor activity during heavy VOG episodes. If the VOG is bothering you, go indoors. Shut the doors and windows so VOG is less likely to sneak in through the openings. Second, remember to stay hydrated. Drink lots of water to flush inhaled sulfur compounds from your body. Third, go somewhere that has air conditioning. Go shopping at the mall. Go to the movies. You'll notice right away that VOG is reduced inside air-conditioned buildings. The AC helps filter the VOG out. There are several excellent websites with more information and helpful suggestions on how to cope. And remember, even with all the VOG, life here is very good for both residents and visitors. Enjoy.